All right, welcome back. Today, we're jumping into some truly essential MQL5 functions. You know, the ones that every single developer needs to know? These aren't just obscure lines of code. They're the tools that make the difference between a script that just sits there and one that's a powerful, responsive, and debuggable trading application. Let's get right into it.
Have you ever had this feeling? You spend hours writing your expert advisor, you drag it onto a chart, hit play, and, well, that's it. It's just running. You're staring at it, wondering, is it working? Is it stuck? What are the variables doing? It's a complete and total black box, and you're just hoping for the best. Well, today, we're going to take a hammer to that black box and crack it wide open. We're going to look at the functions that give your program a voice so it can tell you what it's thinking. We'll give it a clock to control its own timing, and most importantly, we'll build it a safety net to catch it when things inevitably go wrong.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about communication. I mean, if your program can't tell you what's going on, you can never really trust it, right? These first couple of functions are all about opening up that line of communication between your code and you.
Honestly, the print function is your new best friend. It's the simplest, most direct way to get a look inside your program's brain. You want to know the value of a variable at a certain point? Just print it. You want to see if a specific part of your code is even being reached? Print a little message. It's your go-to tool for debugging, hands down. And just look how powerful this is. Without that one line of code, this for loop is a complete mystery. It runs silently. But you pop in that one little print statement and bam! Suddenly, you see every single step. You can trace the entire execution, see the value change. You know exactly what's happening. Okay, but printing to a log is a one-way street, right? The program talks to you. What if you need to talk back? What if you need to have a real conversation with it? Well, that's exactly what message boxes is for. It literally stops the program and pops up a dialog box, waiting for you to respond. And using it is super simple. First, you just figure out what you want to say. Second, you call the function with your text and tell it which buttons to show, maybe an OK or a yes/no. And third, and this is the really cool part, your code can actually check which button the user clicked and then do something different based on that choice. It's perfect for those critical moments, like asking, are you sure you want to close this trade? All right, so our program can talk. That's huge. But now we need to teach it how to handle time. Controlling when things happen and how fast they happen is absolutely critical if you want to build something that's stable and doesn't feel clunky. Think of sleep as literally hitting the pause button on your code. You just tell it how many milliseconds to wait, and your program will just chill. It'll just stop right there and wait for that exact amount of time. This is amazing for things like, not hammering the trade server with 1,000 requests a second, or just to slow things down so a human can actually see what's happening. And this is a perfect example of why you'd want to do that. Imagine your script is drawing these objects on the chart. Without sleep, the whole thing would just, poof, appear instantly. But by adding a short sleep between each step, you can create a smooth, clean animation. It makes the user experience a million times better. Okay, so we've got pause. What about the stop button? Or better yet, the emergency eject button. That's ExpertRemove. It's your program's kill switch. If something goes terribly wrong or maybe a specific trading condition is met, you can just call this function, and it will immediately shut down the EA and remove it from the chart. It's a fantastic way for your program to protect itself.
Now, besides just pausing, sometimes you need to actually measure time. How long did that function take to run? MQL5 gives you two awesome tools for this. GetTickCount is kind of like the stopwatch on your phone. It measures in milliseconds, and it's good enough for most things. But if you really need to get serious about performance and find bottlenecks, GetMicrosecondCount is like a high-speed camera for your code. It's incredibly precise.
All right, voice, check. Time, check. Now for probably the most important part, building a safety net. Look, great code isn't just about what it does when everything works. It's about how it behaves when things break. So, let me ask you this. You call a function to send a trade order, and it fails. What now? How do you actually know why it failed? Was it an invalid price? Was it a requote? Was the market closed? Just knowing it failed isn't enough. You need the details.
Well, it turns out MQL5 is actually keeping a little secret diary of errors for you. Whenever a function fails, it quietly logs a specific error code. And you can peek into that diary anytime you want by calling the GetLastErrors function.
But here's the thing, and this trips up a lot of people. that error code just sits there. It's like an old message on an answering machine. If you don't clear it, you might be looking at an error from 5 minutes ago. That's why you have to call ResetLastError first. It wipes the slate clean so you know the next error you see is the one you're actually looking for.
So please, please, please burn this pattern into your brain. It's 3 simple steps. 1, you reset the error. 2, you make the critical function call. 3, if it fails, you immediately check the error. Reset, call, check. That's it. That is the gold standard for writing code that doesn't just fall apart. This is your safety net.
Whew, okay, that was a lot, I know. But you can see how all these different pieces start to fit together, right? It's not just a random collection of functions, it's a cohesive toolkit that lets you build much, much smarter programs.
So here it is, your whole toolkit. For giving your program a voice and interacting with it, you've got print and message boxing. For taking control of its execution, you have sleep and ExpertRemove. For precision timing, you've got tools for both general and high-performance needs. And for that all-important safety net, you have the ResetLastError and GetLastError combo. And look, this isn't just about writing fancy code. This is the stuff that takes you from someone who just tinkers with scripts to someone who builds professional-grade trading tools. Mastering this toolkit is what lets you build applications that are stable, trustworthy, and actually usable. So I want you to think about this as we finish up. Go look at one of your own EAs or scripts right now. Which one of these functions can you implement today to finally crack open that black box and shed a little light on what your code is really doing?